I've got a soft spot for small tablets. For the past 3+ years, my go-to has been Lenovo's Y700 series. Partly because Lenovo makes awesome tablets, partly because there's not really been a lot of competition. Now, Apple's stuck putting that 60Hz screen on the iPad mini. Most Android tablets have been budget entry-level stuff. But now, Red Magic's stepping into the game with their first ever mini tablet, the Red Magic Astra, and on paper, it looks like they've actually outdone Lenovo in almost every way. So what is this tablet bringing to the table? Let's find out in today's video. If this is your first time here, or in case you just can't remember, my name's Ash, you're watching C4eTech, and let's get started. Inside the box, it's pretty simple stuff. You get the Red Magic Astra itself, or the Tablet 3 Pro if you are in China. There's an 80-watt fast charger, a red USB-C to USB-C cable, and that's pretty much it. No extras, no filler. Now, one of the biggest highlights of this tablet's gotta be the battery capacity, because it is just best in segment. To give you some perspective, the iPad mini, 5078 mAh. Lenovo's 3rd Gen Y700, 6550 mAh. Gen 4, 7500. The Red Magic Astra, a massive 8200 mAh battery. In my 3 weeks with it, the battery life has been excellent. Sure, you can turn on Diablo mode and chew through it pretty quick, more on that later, but for normal use, it's been very good. And when it's time to charge, it's fast. You can hit about 50% in just over 20 minutes and a full charge takes a little over an hour, so it's solid. Now, like I said earlier, the Y700 series, it's been my daily driver for over 3 years, but every now and then, I'd find myself switching over to Samsung, a Tab S6 or a Tab S9 more recently. Now, why do I do that? Well, as much as I loved the Y700's form factor and ergonomics, I'd always end up missing Samsung's OLED, and I'd end up going back to the Samsung. Now, the Astra fixes that for me. It gives me the best of both worlds, the compact form factor that I like, plus a gorgeous OLED panel. Sure, on paper the resolution is about 100 ppi lower than the Y700's LCD, but honestly, I never noticed. I did not notice it while I was enjoying those punchy colors. I did not notice it while I was enjoying that outdoor visibility from that extra brightness. And I definitely did not notice it while watching videos in bed with black bars that were actually black, not that LCD gray that drove me nuts. This is just an excellent panel all around. And paired with the centered side-firing speakers, the media experience here, it's top tier. These speakers, they are loud, punchy, and honestly right on par with what Lenovo's been doing, which is high praise in itself. So watching movies or gaming on this thing, it's been great. Now, if I do have one gripe, it's got to be this USB-C port. Now, it is great on paper, USB 3.2 speeds, plus Red Magic's console mode, so you can hook it up to a monitor and really stretch what this tablet can do. But the placement, not exactly my favorite. I get the logic. They've moved the speakers to the center so that they don't get muffled when you're holding in hand, and that is smart, but that's pushed the USB port off center, and that kind of gets awkward when you're using controllers. If it had to be off center, I wish they had moved it to the other side. At least then the tablet would sit higher when used with a telescopic controller. Now, one more thing, the power button placement, with some controllers it can accidentally get pressed. Now, with a case on, it's basically a non-issue. And let's be honest, most people are going to use their tablets with a case on, at least I do. What about you? If you have a tablet, are you using it with a case on or off? Leave a comment down below. Now, the power button does pull double duty as a fingerprint scanner, which is a nice bonus compared to other tablets in this category. That said, since we are already dealing with an OLED display, I would have liked to see an under-display scanner. I'm not saying it's a deal breaker, but it just would have been nicer. In fact, I would have actually liked to see a second Type-C port too. Even the new K-Pad from Redmi has one. Now, while these are nice to haves, what I actually find to be a letdown, an actual con, is the lack of microSD on this one. Lenovo took microSD away with the Gen 3 Y700. They brought it back this year with the Gen 4. So if the Astra had microSD, it would have just been absolutely perfect for me. But it doesn't have one, and I know why they're doing it. Because after all, there's a reason why when I bought a Y700 for myself, I went with the 256 gig SKU. And with the Astra, because I plan on keeping this, I ended up splurging on the 1 TB variant. So yes, I get it, the marketing move worked. Moving on, there's another questionable choice, the lack of a headphone jack. This one's particularly surprising because Red Magic's gaming phones still come with a headphone jack. So clearly, as a brand, they believe headphone jacks are important for gaming. and they stick it in their phones, but on a 9-inch OLED tablet with top-notch specs, they couldn't find space for it. Doesn't really sound right, does it? Anyways, what they did find space for is this toggle to the right. By default, it launches game space, but you can remap it to do other things if you want. And this time, the Astra actually has an IP54 rating, which does beg the question, what does that mean for cooling? Well, this tablet still has a 20,000 RPM fan, but it is more for internal circulation than active intake or exhaust. Red Magic's cooling hardware is solid, big vapor chamber, liquid metal, the works, but this still happens to be the hottest device I've ever tested in the 12 years or so that I've been doing this. Just look at this. After a stress test, it hit over 65 degrees Celsius, 65 degrees Celsius. Even the cooler spots, they were over 50. At this point, you literally cannot hold this tablet in hand. But, and it's an important but, this was when I was running it on Diablo mode. With Rise, it drops around 5 degrees, and with Balanced, it goes even lower, low 50 degrees. And I actually liked having this flexibility. If it's docked or if you're playing with a telescopic controller, you can go all in with the Diablo mode and squeeze out insane performance. Oh, and remember, there is bypass charging too. So you can run it straight off the wall charger without touching the battery if you wanted to. But this one's an important but. Lenovo's 4th Gen Y700 does not have a fan, no 20,000 RPM fan on it, and it does not have liquid metal. It still manages to post higher scores, slightly higher scores with the same benchmarks, and more importantly, does that while remaining so cool that its hottest spot is only 40 degrees. That said, personally, I'd still go with the Astra. That's what I'm doing, and that's just for that beautiful, beautiful OLED display. And I do most of my gaming with a controller, but if you are someone who plays intense games directly on the touchscreen, the Y700 might just be the better choice for you. So moving on specs wise, the Astra is stacked LPDDR5T RAM, UFS 4.1 Pro storage, and really solid haptics thanks to dual X-axis linear motors. It does weigh in a little more than the Y700, about 30 grams more, but considering the higher capacity battery and slightly larger display, that's not really a con. On the software side, I did run into a couple of quirks. The Astra ships with Android 15 and Red Magic OS on top. Now, when you do pull up the recent app screen, it's very easy to accidentally pin the app. Now, I found that especially annoying since you can't start split screen without going through recents. Well, you could use the gesture, but the usual top bar that lets you split the screen, that just isn't here. Now, fair disclaimer though, I'm on the Chinese firmware, so this might not be an issue with the global version. Price-wise, the Astra does come in higher than the Y700, and if you are buying it for gaming, especially to run Windows games, which is easier than ever now thanks to the Game Fusion emulator, if you're gonna wanna do that, you're gonna wanna get one of the higher storage SKUs. And at that point, the price difference between this and the Lenovo with microSD, that's just huge. For me personally though, I've been hunting for a tablet this size with an OLED screen for a long time. So the Astra makes a lot of sense because it's not replacing one, but it's actually replacing two tablets for me, my Y700 and my Tab S9. But for the vast majority of people, I'd still say if you're okay making that trade-off, if you're okay going with that excellent LCD display on the Y700, that's still king, that's still best in segment. All that said, for their first mini tablet, and only their second tablet ever, Red Magic's done an impeccable job here. Yes, it runs hot, but the performance is top tier, only matched by its direct competitor in this segment, but better than pretty much everything else out there. The display, untouchable for the size class. Pricing, higher than the Y700, but still very competitive. Ergonomics, solid. Add in the IP54 rating, great speakers, a snappy UI, and once again, that beautiful OLED display. The Red Magic Astra might not be the best tablet in its segment, but it's still a solid, it's an excellent choice, and I genuinely love using it. And that's my take. Between these two tablets, which one would you pick and why? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and while you're down there, if you've made it this far, go ahead, hit subscribe so that you don't miss out on more coverage like this. And thanks for watching. Ash out.